Thank you for joining me once again. We have a very interesting breaking news. I knew this day was going to come. I knew today was going to happen, but it was just a matter of time. I wasn't very sure how quick or how fast we get to this point. Straight from the playbook of the United States. Same game, but this time around, a different player. Russia is playing the United States game against them. Straight from the playbook of the United States. I knew it was going to happen, and I'm not surprised. Russia threatens to harm Venezuela and Cuba with Oreshnik hypersonic or ballistic missiles, whichever one you call it. The Oreshnik IRBMs missile. I made a video yesterday that Donald Trump decided to change his mind on giving Ukraine the Tomahawk missiles, even after a decision was made last week. But after Vladimir Putin made nuclear threats at United States, yesterday Donald Trump changed his mind and he completely denied having given Ukraine the thumbs up to have those missiles. He said Ukraine will never have those missiles. It had nothing to do with any decision that says Ukraine can have them. And I clearly said, if Ukraine gets those Tomahawk missiles, this was what I said in that video. If Ukraine get those missiles, Venezuela will get Russian ballistic or hypersonic missiles. That video is just less than 5 hours old. And just in case you forget, let me remind you exactly what I said in that video. Let's watch it together. For me, this is how I look at it. Now, this is personally from me. This is how I see it. If Ukraine gets those Tomahawk missiles, Venezuela gets Russian hypersonic or ballistic missiles at the backyard of the United States. That table has now turned. In fact, the table is turning slowly toward the United States. You get what I mean? If Ukraine get those Tomahawk missiles, Venezuela will get Russian hypersonic and ballistic missiles. End of. That is the bottom line. I think the Venezuela situation is going to choke the United States, because every countries that are not friends with the United States is going to try to keep United States busy at the backyard. For example, China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, and many more countries that want United States to stay busy, to mind their own business. They will do everything and anything to make sure Venezuela continue to stand and fight back. Even though they will take the beating. For example, see what's going on in Ukraine. Now you see, the talks of nuclear weapon or nuclear attacks or nuclear deployment is back to life. It's now making headlines all around the world. And this is sounding like the Cold War is returning back to life after Russia made rhetoric of deploying nuclear weapon against the United States, after Russia continued to make nuclear tests back to back, and they were all successful. And given the war in Ukraine and what Russia had gone through in the last couple of years, would you blame Russia for trying to take the war to the backyard of the United States? I'll let you answer that question. Given everything you've seen, what Russia had experienced, people seem to be carried away and shocked that, why would Vladimir Putin take that kind of a risky, or try to make that kind of a risky move? It is straight from the playbook of the United States. Now, we could possibly see another Cuba-like event here. But this time around, missiles are definitely and actually going to be flying all over the place. Take it or leave it, because it is not like the 60s. Everything has changed. Times have changed. Technology had changed. But before I let you guys go, or before you make your mind up, based on this brief short update, let's have a look at what Russia actually said in regard to whether they are going to deploy missiles to Cuba or to Venezuela, or wherever they plan that they want to deploy these missiles to. Let's have a look at it and see what, let's see what they had to say, shall we? So, here it is. Russia eyes Cuba and Venezuela for nuclear deployment to pressure Washington. In other words, Russia is planning to send nuclear-capable missiles to Cuba and to Venezuela. Obviously, revisiting the old wound. They're trying to put salt on the United States healing wound. Can you blame Russia for that? I don't think so. Given everything they've done to Russia, Russia have decided to pay them back, have decided to play the game back. Putin keep promoting Russian nuclear missiles as tools to threaten the United States, while Moscow uses Belarus to menace Europe. Oh my days. You see the way they put it? So Vladimir Putin is using nuclear threat to control the United States and also position nuclear weapon in Belarus to keep Europe in check. But Europe don't seem to understand what is really going on right now, do they? Russia officials are escalating nuclear threat toward the United States, while President Vladimir Putin tout nuclear system. Tout nuclear system, I don't know what that means, whatever they mean by that. The Institute of Study of War report that a senior Russian lawmaker suggests Moscow could deploy nuclear-capable missiles to Venezuela and Cuba, invoking Cold War fear, just as Vladimir Putin unveiled a new underwater and airborne nuclear weapon. If you're dealing with an equal, why would you go and taunt them the way they've taunted Russia? Now, let's forget about everything else. If this was the United States, you lot know, you guys know this war would have been over a long time ago. United States would have dropped some form of dirty bomb on Ukraine a long time ago. But because Russia had been quiet, they kept tempting and testing Russia. But here it is. Here it is. I knew today was going to come. It was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time. They claim this decision by Vladimir Putin to return nuclear-capable weapons to Cuba and Venezuela comes because of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Russia continues to threaten Ukraine ally in an effort to pressure them into reducing or ending military support for Ukraine while promoting false narrative in the West. Oh my God, here we go. But we know what is happening. We know what is happening. They can put all the like, yeah? We know exactly what is going on. Russia threatening to send nuke to Latin America. Wow, okay. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. On the 29th of October, Russian State Duma Defense Committee Deputy Chairperson Alexei Zuravolev, okay, I'll leave that for you, said Moscow could deliver nuclear-capable missiles to Venezuela or Cuba, emphasizing their proximity to what he called Russian main geopolitical advisory, the United States. So all of this obviously is being done to keep the United States in check. But ladies and gentlemen, here it is. But who do we blame? Who do we actually, yeah, it is. There's little destructive element here. But who do we actually blame for this? That is the question. Are you going to blame Russia? I don't think so. Russia is only playing by the United States rules and regulations, straight from the United States playbook. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think and how do you think this is going to play out? Don't forget, since Russia started embarking on their nuclear test and nuclear program, United States have been quiet. They've been playing the quiet kind of silent game. But Russia is pushing on. Russia is raising the rhetoric. We will give Cuba the missiles they want. And as far as I know, as of today, the 4th of November 2025, I heard a lot of missiles and weapons had already been sent to Cuba by Russia. But everything sent to Cuba is classified. No details is published or announced or talked about anywhere. Scary times ahead. But what do you guys think?